You're listening to Chaos Public Radio.
Good evening once again, and welcome back to Gender Non-Conforming Cast. I'm your host, Mary Jane Blank, and today with me I have trapeze artist Ryan Ward. What do you do, Ryan? Or what else do you do?
Well, right now I'm a professional hot mess because I'm out on medical leave. But normally when I do things, I'm a bartender by day, and then I've been doing circus for 12 years now?
Damn!
No, I've been doing aerials for 12 years. I started doing circus when I was 16.
Damn.
So, a very long time. I'm from the East Coast, and I moved out here to continue doing it. I used to own my own program, and I would teach, and I'd done everything from tightwire, which was what I started at, and then I've done hammocks, straps, flying trapeze. She's done a little bit of everything.
If it's being flung through the air, you've done it.
Honestly,
or walking on a small rope.
Right, which is hilarious because I'm like the world's biggest klutz when it comes to normal stuff. Oh, all the time. And one of my best friends from college, her mom used to work with the New York Ballet, and they have like a yellow painted line on the stage, like the sight line. So if you're behind this line, they can't see you. Like we all know how it works in theater and stuff. And there's no level changes. It's just like a painted yellow line, and the ballet dancers are beautiful, and they would trip over it every time. There's nothing there, and I was like, relatable. So currently I don't perform because she has a herniated disc and we're getting there. But outside of that, I do that. I bartend. I have my own website and everything where I just kind of like storytell and stuff. Right. So I'm just excited to be here.
Hell yeah. No, this is a great, cross promotion. That's like part of the whole point as well. It's just cross promoting other queer and like trans and non-binary people who fall under like the LGBTQ
bracket
umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah, but even that, it's just like it's super cool to not necessarily be recognized like I'm better than you, but have that mentality of I get to talk about being queer for like an hour or whatever. And I texted my sister that, and she's 10 years younger than me, and her only response when I was like, I get to go talk about being queer for an hour, she's like, what a time to be alive. And I was like, Abigail!
No, you'll appreciate as well. This was inspired by, I'd put Stone Butch Blues on display like that, and then that started a conversation, and that's how we've gotten to where we are today.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
Amazing. So, first off, how would you describe your gender?
Okay, so I say that I'm gender fluid is probably the easiest thing for me. And that's just like, right off the bat, I'm like, oh, I'm gender fluid. And then if people are like, well, what does that mean? That's when it gets complicated.
Right. Because like the idea of the term gender fluid is implying that ambiguity.
There's no definite.
Yeah.
And I know quite a few people that are gender fluid, and each one of us has a completely different, like, it's crazy. The way we talk about it is all different and always, words are hard. Says someone who has a blog.
Right,
oh, God. It's
exactly. I'm a writer, and you've heard how I talk.
It's great. It's fine. I'm just a fucking mess. Like, and that's my brand, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
And other. So I'm gender fluid, but I feel that I'm more of, like, the stepping stone, where, like, if you were to meet somebody and be like, I don't know what the fuck this is, I'm the first person you'd want to meet, because I'm like, oh, it's just and I'm, like, real timid. You dip the toe in and be like, oh, so this is queerness. Got it. Sure. Like, I'm a very subtle reference to it, because for me, gender fluid, for a lot of people, is, like, going back and forth between the two, and you can be whatever, and you're not non-binary in the sense, I mean, some people are gender fluid, identify as non-binary.
Right.
Like, for me, it's just, like, easier to tell people, oh, I'm non-binary, but it's, My gender fluidity goes from, like, some days I am boy, like today.
Sure.
Versus other days I'm not. Like, the first time you met me, I was decked out.
No, I was gonna say, notably, when I first met you, we were at a queer and trans party, and you had the most decadent glitter makeup.
Pink and purple, and all the glitter. Her hair was done in, like, perfect braid crown. Like, I was ready to go. And then today, I have, like, the world's messiest half up, half down with a hair clip. I'm wearing this, like, tie-dyed rainbow sports skater shirt, sneakers, and, like, gym shorts.
No, if you wanted to, you could pass as a tech bro, if you wanted to.
100%. And I'm, like, rave culture is everything. I'm a huge EDM, and it's fine. And some days I'll go, and it's really funny when we go, because the festivals are, multiple days. So one day it's, like, short shorts, tank top, like, she's a lady, perfect curls, done makeup. And then the next day it's just like, I'm sorry, who is he? Like, it's very easy for me. So for me, my gender fluidity is more of, like, a female, male. And I like to tell people that I feel like I am androgynous, but my body is not.
Okay.
Because for those of you that don't know, I'm a 6'4", long, bright ass purple hair, very broad. Yeah, I'm a trapeze artist. Bear with me here.
Yeah.
So like looking at me, you wouldn't be like androgynous, but if you got to know me and like my style and the way I flow between two things, it's like, okay. And that's where a lot of body dysmorphia comes in.
Shit, for sure.
Because I'm just like, I look like such a dude. And all the time people are like, you should play football or you should be a basketball player. And I was like, you should shut the fuck up. Like, thanks.
Yeah.
So, oh, God.
God damn. No, I really relate to that, to be honest with you. Like, that was sort of where I was at in the beginning. That's that questioning place where you're trying to figure it out as well. So do you feel like, you feel like it's the feeling of who you are as, like, male or female or man or woman that changes, not just how you want to be perceived or, like...
Yeah, it's like, it depends, because my pronouns, I don't use they, them. For some reason, I have such a, like, when people use it.
Sure.
For me, I'll use it for other people, no problem. Sam Smith, I got you. Like, we're ready to go. But when people are like, oh, Ryan, they, and I'm just like, who? Who?
Sure.
And even at that point, like, I would rather you use my name than use pronouns. But because I'm in the entertainment world, between drag, circus, theater, dance, all of it, I'm so used to she does this. And, like, it's just the culture that we talk in.
For sure.
I think for me, pronouns are more of like a joking, we're friends, like, sis, I got you, than that. But like, if you came up to me, moving from the East Coast to here, I had to get used to dude, because everyone says it, and
as
I'm
a
just
California native, I can I am a dude. I called my mom dude.
People say to me all the time, they're like, dude, what's up? And I'm just like, give me one moment, please. Let me just, like, gag.
Yeah, you want one of those, like, don't bro me if you don't know me shirts.
Oh my God, I hate it. And when I go out, because obviously I'm a big dude, for lack of a better description.
Right.
I'll go out and they'll be like, can I get you anything, buddy? And I'm like, I'm not your buddy, pal.
Right.
It's like, I don't fucking know you. Don't. Or when, like, at work, we wear name tags. I never wear my name tag. Because I have, if you can't tell already, an attitude or something, affectation, whatever. She's loud. So I never wear my name tag, because if people want to complain, you have to, like, physically ask for my name, and then I can straight up backtrack and be like, oh, so what's wrong? Like, I don't want you to fucking know. And even at the time, it has, like, our names written on our receipts and stuff. I'd be like, if you didn't like me, my name is Tim. Like, I lie, 100%. But if we're wearing a name tag and you're like, hey, bro, can I get this? I'm like, it is on my chest. There, like, just look at my boob. Go ahead, it's right here.
Sure.
You're good to go. And it's fucking frustrating. But yeah, for me, it changes. Some days I'll wake up and I'm just like, she's beautiful today, and the other days wake up and I'm just like, gym shorts, tank top, cannot be fucking bothered. It's a very interesting dichotomy, like, between the two, for me to see what happens.
For sure. So it's not just about, like, how your performance changes is based on, like, how you're feeling in that particular moment.
Absolutely.
And so what you're describing, like, even though it's like day to day, you describe, like, changes, like, it's obviously more complicated than that, right? It's like, it's really that it's shifting all the time.
Like, it's, and I know that previously on this podcast, you guys have talked about, Vivian? Yeah, Vivian. She said that, there was this, like, difference and never identified with tonight I went out as April or anything and having a different name.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get that, and I don't change between that thing, but, like, Ryan's my middle name. I don't go by my first name. I changed it when I moved to California because it felt better. I didn't feel like that. And although Ryan is mostly associated as a male name, it's a pretty ambiguous name. It can go either way.
Actually, it can, yeah.
Right. And so that, for me, it works because I don't have to worry about, like, oh, today I'm this or today I'm that. I just be me. But I've definitely had people straight up look at me and they're like, yeah, you can tell when your girl days are and your boy days are because your mannerisms, your personality, everything is so different. I'm just like, thanks, I'm complex.
For sure,
like,
for sure.
It's fine.
Yeah, I like that. I like that embracing of those different things. Like,
it took some fucking time. Let me tell you.
Right. No, the hardest part of being trans or gender non-conforming in any of those, like, away from sort of the binary of performance or of identity space. That's the first thing, is accepting yourself.
Right.
And, like, just feeling that. Yeah, like, because not only do we have like an imposter syndrome, but like there are structures upon structures of people telling us that like we're crazy or we're wrong about ourselves.
Well, it took so long, and like moving out here. So my sister, she still calls me by my first name. My family hasn't changed yet, but for some reason, my sister and I always call each other by our like full name. We never call each other anything else, and it's just at the point where if we're out in public and somebody else calls her Abigail, she's like, "Who the fuck are you?" But if I do it, it's fine. And like the same if we're out and she calls me by my first name, everybody stares at me and they look like I'm crazy. I'm like, I don't fucking know. It just for her it's fine. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like whatever. But she's also at the same time, she's like my biggest supporter with everything. And when people say anything and be like, "Oh, your brother's this," like she calls me her sister.
Hell yeah.
Like always, it's been
nice.
the thing, and she'll just be like, "Watch your fucking mouth." Like finger guns up. She's like, "Watch your fucking mouth." Like she's my ride or die, and I love her. She and I got really close when I moved back home before I moved out to California.
Okay.
Because I left for college at 17, so she was 7.
Whew.
And like we did not, I mean, we obviously knew who each other were, like we saw each other on holidays, but we didn't have a relationship until I was a bedroom away from her.
Yeah.
And we were just like, "God, I fucking hate you. Just kidding, we're best friends." Like that's how our relationship is, and we're so like borderline abusive to each other the way we talk, but it's like great. So she's really awesome about that, and I'm losing my train of thought, so that's fine. But yeah, so
No, yeah, that's always really good, is having that family member. Because, like, for me, too, I'm very meek. I'm very non-confrontational.
I'm clearly not.
And, yeah, right. But, yeah, for me, that was really helpful, was, like, getting my parents to sort of understand. And then they sort of, like, reinforced it.
Right.
And so it's gotten out where, like, my great aunt, you know, my grandpa's cousin, like, gendered me correctly and
Just
stuff.
to
and,
be
like,
clear, like,
it.
I love my family. My mom and my dad have been fantastic. They've been so good. My grandparents have been so good. Coming out when I first was like, and it was the whole like gayness thing, which I'm sure we'll get into the sexuality part later in the questions, but that is a completely different ball game than this. And like my family is learning. My mom at one point she didn't understand it, like she didn't get the whole gender thing. And Mom, if you're listening, I love you. I hope you know that. She got to the point where she talked to me about makeup and everything, and she stopped realizing like, I don't like that my son is wearing makeup, and it became more of like, I don't like you in that color. So it changed, from a, like, you're not allowed to wear makeup, you're just too gay and all this, that she kind of started to grasp the concept of, like, no. And then I wear one and she's like, no, that color doesn't look good on you. Or there's 4 of us total, and she always laughs that she has 2.5 boys and 1.5 girls. Like, that's just the running joke. Or she'll be like, oh, I have 2 daughters and 2 sons. My oldest and my youngest are my daughters, and then I have 2 sons. And that's kind of in between. But my brothers are, like you described with your brother, they're the athletes, straight through and through. Like, in high school, it was, my brother and I are 18 months apart, and we were in high school at the same time. Yeah. So it was like, everyone knew me for education, and they all knew him for sports. So it became like, oh, you're related to, I was like, yeah, that's my brother, it's fine. And then my sister, her and my other brother were in the same thing, because they're like 2 years apart. Right. So they the same thing. So her senior quote in the yearbook is literally, yes, I'm Bugsy's sister. And I die, because it's so funny, because it's at the point where, like, Abigail and I mean, we did our own thing. I won several awards. I was in theater, and she was really good at what she did. But it was like, everyone knew our brothers because of sports.
Oh my God.
And, you know, being in a baseball-oriented, soccer-oriented, sports-oriented family, it stood out. My mom and my dad, they supported me with theater. When I started doing dance, my dad actually ended up front row of every single show, and I had no idea until the last night, and I was so, like, he was so proud of me, but we never discussed it. Right. So it was one of those things where it was just, like, more visible that they supported the sports, because they didn't quite grasp what I did, but they were still there for me. You know what I mean? Like, they still showed up, and my mom talks about it now. She always makes the joke that her son ran away. She's like, my oldest is a clown. And I'm like, okay, Mom, I have a degree. I went to Florida State University. I was part of their circus program there. Like, I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, I have the paper to back it up. But that really expensive fucking piece of paper. Thanks. But she makes the joke, and she's like, no, I'm actually, like, super proud, because she sees all the stuff I've done. She sees everything that I've taken and, like, participated in. I mean, there was one point where I was one of the coaches for the trapeze school that was owned by the Lanuba performers from Cirque du Soleil.
Wow.
So it wasn't just like, I was just some random kid teaching circus. Like, I worked with professionals.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't at that tier. Let's not get carried away. But I worked with them. I knew them. And I have several friends that are in, like, film and other things like that.
Yeah.
That I socialize with. So they just don't speak that language as well as they speak sports. So it was an interesting thing to see it, especially because they're used to, you know, picturesque masculinity of what they want to be, the athlete, and then of course, you know, disappointed because of how my size and my stature are. They want me to participate in these things, and I'm just like, she wants to dance. She wants to do gymnastics. Like, and then I come out with makeup, and my mom's like, "Fuck, your makeup's better than mine." And I was like, "Yeah, I can show you what I use." Like,
I have to try harder.
Oh, and that's another thing when women specifically give you dirty looks, and they're just like, about the makeup, and I'm just like, I will teach you.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think I'm that good at it.
Right.
Like, every now and then it's just like good angles. Know them, it's fine. But other times when girls are like, I just don't like that he wears makeup like that. Ma'am, do you want to go shopping with me? Because I'll go. I will take you. I don't need an excuse to go play with makeup. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready.
That's so funny.
Well, have you experienced that? Like, as you know, a woman going out and having people be like, I don't know with the makeup in this. And then you're just like, I want to teach, I want to play.
No, I'm a little more, unfortunately, like, for me, I'm a little bit more on, like, I would say, like, femme of center. Like, I fall pretty much, like, in the middle of androgyny. Like, I don't go too far.
Oh, so you're the exact opposite of me, where I'm polars. You're
and I'm in the middle, exactly. But, so sometimes I'll do makeup, but it's usually it's usually pretty subtle, and it's goth makeup as well, so like that's a pretty different response.
Yeah,
to
but that's like
something more traditional.
That's almost more of like a theatrical. Yeah. Than it is like she pretty.
Right. No, exactly.
That's fun though. Oh god, I love it. I always take the same. Art Simone is a drag queen from Australia. If you haven't seen her stuff, she's fucking incredible. And she did a Paint Me Bitch with Willem, which is like her YouTube series where she has other queens come in and like artists and paint her for the night. And Art wears bright colors, like crazy eyebrows. Does all kinds of things. And there's one part where she's in it where she was talking about the queens in Sydney painting light. They don't really wear a lot of makeup, like Courtney Act versus hers. And she's like, yeah, they all paint light down there. But I feel, and this was her quote, she was just like, if you're going to put on makeup, fucking put on makeup. And I was just like, life motto. So when I wear makeup, I'm just like, how much glitter can I fit in this 4-inch surface and make it work?
Fucking A. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, you have to, especially, like, I'm trying to think. Physically, I'm huge. So,
yeah.
Even with my purple hair or anything, I'm going to get looks. I'm going to get comments. So if I have just nude makeup on or something that's very subtle, people are still going to stare at me because of the way I look. So at this point, I'm just like, fuck it. If you're going to look, I'm going to give you a shot. If you're going to stare, thank you. I look stunning. Like, flip the hair around and be like, I love your makeup. Thanks, I know. Like, you can't not be confident. And I feel like that was a really hard thing for me to deal with when I was like, I think I'm queer. That's
part of the thing having people who are really supportive, like, to go out in public with, express that confidence and do things like that. Like, for me, when I first, like, after the first year of coming out, I had a couple partners who, were really encouraging, and, like, we would, like, all of us felt very self-conscious on our own, so I decided, like, together we should be as confident as possible. So that's like how I went.
Just fuck it, because nobody can tell you nothing.
Exactly.
If you're confident with it, they're not gonna be like, her makeup looks terrible.
Because
you're gonna say it's the same as if you went up to like a woman of color and you were just like, I don't like that on you. She'd be like, I see you looking. You know this is great. Like, you can't tell her anything.
Yeah.
She can't. You can't. Like, you have to have confidence in what you look like and what you do. I mean, when I first came to the realization of something was weird about my gender, I sat with she's one of my best friends. She's basically my sister. Like, we have been friends since my senior year of high school. So, a long time. Yeah. I graduated in 2008. She's old.
Okay.
But, so we've been friends since, like, 2007. Like, a really long time.
Right.
And we were sitting on her back patio, and I just was bawling. Because I was like, I don't fucking know what to say. Like, I feel weird. I want to figure out what works with this and like what to do, especially because I was in a very toxic relationship. That's part of the reason I moved to California. And so when people all the time, they're like, well, what made you move out here? I'm just like, do you want the real story or like what I tell people? Because the true story is I literally moved, changed my name, got away from everything. I was like, fuck this, I'm done.
Right.
I cut all ties and was just like, we don't know her. Like, I changed everything. And it was the best decision I've ever made. Yeah. If you ever debate like leaving wherever you are because you feel stuck, just go. You'll figure it out. You can come back if you want, but just get the fuck out. So my ex didn't want me to have long hair. Didn't like when I had makeup. Didn't like when I dressed feminine. And for me, I mean, you saw the shirt I wore last time. It was a woman's shirt, but it wasn't super feminine. My clothing-wise, I don't see myself wearing like skirts.
Okay,
or dresses or anything. I love a good pair of heels, but with these ankles, not so much. Also, ain't nobody gonna come over to some giant raptor woman. Like, I'm 6'4".
Are you 6'4"?
Yeah, I'm 6'4".
So
put me
heels
in,
make
like,
you 6'6".
Right, like put me, and that's just like baby heels. That's not even like real heels. So if I wear the ones that I want to wear, people are gonna be like, "Excuse me, David and Goliath, can I help you?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's at the point now where sometimes I'll run into door frames because I don't see them. In heels? No, she's done. It's over.
That's true. Oh, God. The world's not designed for people above 6'2".
Honestly.
At all.
So, fuck it. And then you get the thing like airplanes or like sometimes public restrooms when the stalls are short and everything. I'm just like, this is fine. That's why I love the single use or like the gender neutral bathrooms, because it's like, yay, I don't have to hit a wall here.
Yes, they're better for so many reasons. I cannot advocate for the single stall bathroom enough.
I don't get stared at the same way as, you know, a trans woman like yourself or anything would be going into a bathroom. But I get the stares when I'm trying to, like, get out of the stall, and people are just like, what the it's like Hagrid coming out and be like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right.
My bad. Like, fuck. So, anyway.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, though, the reason, like, it's actually pretty much the same experience. Like, those are the same experiences I had, and it was being in that gender ambiguous space that you live in, that you, like, enjoy, since, you embrace both femininity and manhood, you know?
Right. I just feel like, and this is something that I've recently been trying to, like, deal with and come to terms with, is that people, when it comes to introducing people to the queer world, I'm like all right, welcome, let's pick the direction you want to go in. I pop up like Navi in Legend of Zelda. I'm just like, listen, like, it's ready to go. But whenever people have questions about trans life or queerness in general, they always ask me, and if I'm the only one in the room, I'll answer. But if like you and I are in the same room and they're like, oh, what's it like to be trans? I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna have a seat because this is not my time. Like, this ain't about me. I can get you in the door and I can be like, these are all the books you need to look at.
Yeah.
But the second you pick one of those books up, I'm like, I'm out. Let me pass you off to the librarian. She will help you. I am useless. So I understand my place in that. But I do feel like because I'm white, I'm tall, I'm mostly masculine presenting, at least my features are, my voice is easier on the ears than that of somebody else, and I'm just like, no, they deserve rights too. And then people are like, why? And I'm like, take it away, please. Like, I'm the one on the soapbox and I'm like, hey, fuckers, and like ready to go, and then I'm like, now that I have your attention, Jane. Like, ready? That's what being an ally is, people.
Pretty much.
Whether it's queer people, whether it's people of color, anything. If you can get the attention for them to listen, turn it over and hand it to somebody else. Don't speak for them. Don't speak for people of color. Don't speak for queer people. Don't speak for trans people if you have no space in there. And I don't care if you're dating a black person. I don't care if you're dating a trans person. I don't care if you're dating somebody who's non-binary. You don't fucking understand because you don't have to be through that. I mean, for me, specifically, I have the best partner in the world. I love him more than anything. He has been so incredibly supportive. And in our relationship, there was a part where he thought he didn't want to be with me because he thought I wanted to be a woman.
Right.
He didn't understand, and by no means am I trying to shit on him or anything. This was not an argument. This was not like a terrible thing. It was he didn't understand what gender fluid was, and he didn't seek the information, not because he didn't want to, but because it's fucking hard to have this conversation.
Yes.
And, you know,
because, like, it opens up the entire question of gender, where gender before was an unquestionable thing, and suddenly it's like you are, like, push on it, you push on the panel, and the wall flips over, and a whole universe opens up in front of you.
You know, he is a cisgendered gay man. Right. And I'm not. I'm not. And so and at the same time, you don't have a conversation, and you don't want to sound transphobic. You don't want somebody to be like, well, you don't want to date somebody who wants to be this later in life and
Right.
have them be like, well, you just don't want to be with trans women. Like, no, I can understand the thought of, oh, you're a woman, you are a woman, you represent as your woman. I'm gay, I don't want to be with that.
Yeah.
The difference for me, and sorry if I piss anybody off, I'm willing to talk about it, I'll give you my handles later, is if I'm starting to meet you and get to know you and everything, and I don't get to ask what's in your pants.
Yeah.
But it's different, like, I don't see anything wrong with being in a relationship with somebody and realizing that sexually you're just not compatible.
Yeah.
And that's not the same as being like, I don't want to date you because you're trans.
Yeah.
You know?
It's very, that as well is really hard to accept that, yeah, like, basically, we all have these individual preferences that are based on all these different things. And, like, I've had the same realization. Like, in the last year or two, I started going on dates a lot more. And I had a couple, like, the few people I had sex with, kind of that was how it went. Was, like, it wasn't quite, we weren't quite sexually compatible.
Yeah, but there's a difference between
you know.
saying, I'm not sexually compatible and I won't date you because you're trans.
Right.
That's the same as, like, you can
Yes.
say that your preference is you like taller guys, but you
Right.
can't say that your preference is I won't date black guys.
Yes,
You're
yes,
racist.
Exactly.
That's not
no,
a
that's
preference.
completely true. Yes, yes.
You know
the,
what I mean?
The no fats, no Asians is very fucked.
No fens, no fats, no Asians.
That's right,
And I'm like,
that's
okay,
right.
sis, what do you want then?
And I'm like, I wish I had someone in mind who fit all those. I could just be like, boom.
I
To
don't
blow them
understand
away.
why. Like, my boyfriend is Mexican,
Mm-hmm.
and he's beautiful, and I love him dearly. But both of us have talked about the fact that we love Asian guys. Like, we are both attracted to Asian men. So when people are like, "No Asians," and I'm just like, "Okay, but why?"
But why? Yeah.
Like-
Okay, what?
Like, I need a description. Also, that's the funniest thing in the world. Obviously, I'm white, so I have the privilege when
Yeah.
it comes to that. But when I'm talking to people and they're like, oh, I just don't like this, right? I'm like, why? And I pretend I don't understand.
Oh my God.
And, like, just let them go through this real track of, oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
That's
and it's
using
my
your privilege.
It's my favorite. Oh, bitch. My parents
Yeah,
told me to
good
stand
shit.
up for the little guy, and I'm like, well, everyone's littler than me, so let's have some fucking fun. I'm such a rebel. It's
Good.
great.
I like
love it. I love to stir the pot and start shit with people that don't like things. Oh, so back to the original rant here, because I ramble.
Mhm,
My
no
ex
worries.
didn't like any of that. Like, it got to the point where although I don't look it because I'm a bigger person, I have suffered with anorexia for years. Like,
For sure.
yeah, to the point where in college, I was in the hospital. I've had my appendix removed. I had a colonoscopy at 18 because they thought I had cancer, but it was literally just anorexia induced by depression. So that was
Jeez.
fun. Yeah, I lost about 30 pounds in like 2 months,
Wow.
2.5 months, because I
Holy
just wasn't
shit.
eating. I just wasn't
Like
eating.
a pound every 2 days. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it was a mess, and I had the type of anorexia where trigger warning for everybody listening, where I would eat once a day and I would just spend all of my day in the gym. And as a circus performer, my body was just like getting fucked. I was in the gym for 3 or 4 hours, then I'd go train for a few hours, and then I'd come home, stretch, and go to sleep. So it wasn't even registering in my head. To the point where I don't feel hunger anymore. My body can't process. I can't distinguish the difference between hunger pains and just cramps. So I would have to set alarms on my phone and things like that and be like, it's time to eat. And when I was in college, it was like I didn't go to an actual rehab, but I was with a therapist. So it was like a rehabilitation thing, and I had to eat with people. They made me eat.
Sure.
They made me eat with people to sit down and do it. And I mean, I've had people tell me, oh, you don't have this because you're too large. And I'm like, it doesn't know
Yeah,
size.
no, exactly. Especially because of how like weight works. Exactly. Where like I assume like you probably didn't look that different than you do now. And-
I did.
okay.
I have when I went through everything, I will pull up a picture of me at my smallest.
But yeah, that's a big problem with like doctors, fat phobia. You know, it's like if you're fat, they
So
don't
that
listen
was
to
me when I was
anything.
anorexic.
Whoa! Holy shit!
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And the worst part about it is I had people tell me that, like, obviously I'm injured now, so I've gained some weight from that. And I'm so excited that I'm seeing a PT and able to go to the gym and stuff. Because fitness is everything for me.
was gonna
I
say,
love to work out.
You look healthier now. Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Thanks. I am. I'm a lot healthier. There is probably close to 100 pounds different in that picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And where I am right now.
That seems closer to where you should be, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
where you are now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I had people tell me when I started gaining weight, they're like, we liked you more like this. Like, you looked good like this. You should go back to that. I was like, oh, you mean when I would, like, vomit every day and not be able to eat and I would just work out and, like,
Right.
pass out from stuff? Cool, thanks. For those, I'm healthier now. Like, I still suffer from the mentality of it. It's not one of those things that you can just be like, oh, I'm cured. Like, you're stuck with this for the rest of your life. Yeah. Sorry about it.
It's like any trauma, basically.
Right.
It's something you have to just sort of accept the new reality of, and then, dealing with this every day. Yeah.
And you equip that with gender dysphoria.
Yes.
And body dysphoria. So she's a mess. Back to my brand. So my ex and this is years after the eating disorder, he knew about it. Yeah. He would get mad at me when I wouldn't go to the gym enough. Or he wouldn't want to be sexual with me because he's like, you're too fat.
Oh my God.
So I was just like, oh, okay. So that was a fun time. And we had a lot of issues in our relationship, both on the romantic side and the sexual side, that just didn't work for me. So when we broke up, I ended it because I was like, I can't do this. I'm not me, and I hate who I am. That's when I decided to change my name and everything, and I realized that I wanted to change things. I texted one of my students from my circus program, and I was like, I broke up with my ex. And the only response I got was Viking braids, ? And I was just like, I love that there's not a single bit of, are you okay? Do you need this? It's like, so you're going to grow your hair out? Because my hair is everything to me, and
it is beautiful.
Thanks.
It's nice purple as well. Yeah,
I need to redo it and like get my roots done and everything. But I love my hair. I have not cut it other than like the split ends trims in like 2 years because I want it to grow, and that's been a huge part of my gender identity. Was just the fact that like boys can have long hair too. It's fine. I'm of the Nordic-ish descent, like German, Swiss, all of that stuff. Yeah. So long hair's normal, and I put it up, and I have the big full bun, and it's ready to go. But then there's sometimes where I'll have it down, and people walk up to me and be like, excuse me, ma'am. And they get so embarrassed, and my friends and I are like, no, it's fine. You're right. You're not wrong. So.
Yeah. It's like, well, yeah. You're like, yes.
Right. So sitting out with my best friend after I'd just broken up with my ex and everything, we were sitting and talking, and I told her I was confused about my gender and all this. And she just was like, I don't get why. You're fine. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I'm going to try and quote her correctly because it's been like 2.5 years. And Ellie, I love you dearly. You've helped me through so much. She was just like, you see the world in black and white. And so when I look at clothes, they're just clothes. They're not, this is a men's shirt, this is a women's shirt. I just see it as everything. And that's how I do everything. Makeup, things like this, habits, actions, the way I speak, all of it, there's no gender associated to it. And that she's like, I think that's why people get confused when they're around you because you don't see it the same way. So like, that's a women's shirt, and you're like, yeah, it's a shirt. No, it's a women's shirt. And I'm like, but it's a shirt.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't register to me, and I feel like that's been a huge defining thing for me in my gender journey, whatever you want to call it. So that's where I...
Yes, trademark, copyright.
Like...
that's what I call it from this show officially.
Any of those fucking things.
Yeah. Watch out for that Gender Journey t-shirt coming in 2021.
So I wouldn't say that I'm gender queer, because I feel like gender queer is more of like a... irony here, is more fluid. But my gender fluidity isn't through the whole spectrum. It's from male to female, and it bounces. Mine's more like a metronome.
You have specific points, that you bounce sort of in between, and there's sort of variation between those things. But there's a lot more of the sort of spectrum that you don't go between.
Right, I'm not binary by any means.
Yeah.
But I am more... My settings are more binary than someone like you.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like Theo and everything like that. And that's been interesting. And then sexuality is a completely different thing.
So, would you like to, how...
sure.
So...
It's hard, right?
Well,
it's hard
like,
to discuss
how would you describe it? Well, it's like, I'm trying to see if I want to ask, how would you describe it? Or like, even just like, what do you call it? Like, I'm not sure which is
Well, I think it's fair to ask both, because as far as this podcast goes, we're assuming that most of the people that are going to be either guests like me or people that are listening in are on the spectrum, the LGBTQ plus all the other letters that I always forget. And I'm so sorry. They're on that spectrum, and that they kind of like, oh, I got it. But then in the off chance that you have regular people listening, they're just like, hey, quick question. What the fuck?
Right.
And like, this is a good way to explain it.
Yeah,
so
great time.
When I'm talking to people, previously I said I was gay. I am in a gay relationship. I have a partner. I don't like to say boyfriend or girlfriend, although sometimes I do, just because I'm 29. Yeah. I don't have a boyfriend. Right. I mean, he's younger than me. He's 7 years younger than me.
Okay, sure.
So there's a bit of a dynamic. I've got such bad Starbucks hiccups right now. Oh, it's awful.
No worries. But yeah, you only use boyfriend as like a sort of like to tease him with
Well,
it.
it's I'll be like, boyfriend, come here. Mostly I call him Babbers.
Okay,
I'm like,
sure.
Babbers, come here. Like, it's fine. And
For sure.
it's one of those things where when I listen to other people or watch movies and they like do the cutesy stuff, I'm like, then I turn around and I'm like, Pudge, get over here. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Or like, we'll argue and I'll be like, first of all, I'm baby. Don't you forget that. Like, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, we have those things, but then out in other life, it's completely different.
Of course, yeah, for sure.
So I say partner because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it adds, one, a bit of privacy to it. Like,
Yeah.
when I was in college, you know, I'd have people introduce me and they'd be like, oh, this is my gay friend. And I hated it.
Yeah.
And Theo talked about that on their podcast. They were just like, hey, this is blank and they're a lesbian. And
Yeah.
like, fuck you. You don't get to know that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm glad that I've met you and now you know what I do naked. Like,
Yeah,
fuck
right.
you. That's no different than looking at someone looking at you and be like, are you a trans woman?
Right.
It's
No,
rude.
exactly.
Like, if you're not going to be that brazen in real life, first of all, if you're that brazen in real life, I'm Southern, I'll scrap.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say bless your heart and beat your ass. Like, we're good to go.
Fuck yeah.
It's fine, but whatever.
Yeah.
Lord Jesus slaps. Just so, I get so hostile with it. But
Yeah.
I feel like partner gives that kind of privacy of, you don't get to know if I'm gay, straight, or other.
Yeah.
You just get to know that I am in a relationship, and beyond that, it's none of your fucking business.
Yeah, and as far as I know, that's basically like how the term sort of like came to be popularized.
That's 100% how the term became to
I had
and I
professors in
adore
college,
it.
who use partner, and I like partner for that reason too. But another reason that I like it as well is like thinking it back again, like to some of the other podcasts I made, some of the other episodes. I was thinking, you know, when I mentioned that like adoption is something that it gets closed off for queer people,
Right.
So
And
is marriage for a
prevents
long
that.
time.
It prevents that.
And so like yeah, that partner is a way of sort of that like taking that you know, that validity of being like no
I
like,
can
we're
cut
not-
this off because right.
yeah, we're not boyfriends and we're not girlfriends or whatever. Like we are, like we're partners. Like we're serious. Like we could start a business or rob a bank or we could get married.
It's the
Any
same
of
as the
those
word
things.
couple. When people
Yeah.
are like, oh, a gay couple, I'm like, hey, quick question. Who the fuck cares? They're a couple. Another thing that I love the term part. Wow, English, doing great. Speak 6 languages, can't fucking speak English. Doing amazing. Partner adds a sense of maturity and like responsibility to it. It's less of a like, oh, we're friends that hang out and kind of are together. It's like, no, you are my partner.
Yeah.
When we are struggling through things or when we're going on things, that's fine. Like right now, I have a herniated disc, so I can't work. I'm on medical disability. I can't do anything. I have been out since January. I don't get to go back till at least April. My partner has stayed and been walking my dog and helping me with anything that I can, and I'm so grateful because I'm fucking obnoxious after a certain amount of time. Like, I get it. And he is super introverted, so he's just like, I'm gonna die for a little bit and then we'll be fine. And it works.
Yeah.
But
just knowing each other's limits and
right.
Yeah.
So it's just this sense of I feel terrible because I cannot ask for that much help because I don't want to feel needy. But as far as the government's concerned, I'm disabled right now. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And to have him just be like, no, I'm your partner. I'm going to pick you up. That is a completely emotional thing at the same time. And then it kind of adds this sense of like, yeah, I do want to be with you. You're not just going to jump from, oh, that's my boyfriend to now I'm married.
Yeah.
You need that in between.
Yeah.
So this is that in between.
Absolutely.
Surprised if anybody didn't know I want to marry him, but
Yeah.
like
Oh,
moving
nice.
on.
Okay.
We're
But
both
yeah.
on the same page.
But yeah, no, it's a piece, like, it's it can also be indicative of, yeah, like, building that intimacy slowly, because, like, it is pretty complicated, and, like, yeah, the terms for relationships, I've commented about our terms for sexuality being basically useless. Our terms for relationships are not much better, to be honest with
They
you.
suck. So I have a partner who is male, so he identifies as gay and cisgendered.
Okay.
I identify as queer and gender fluid.
Okay.
And I used to think gay because I was like, I date guys, I'm gay. But then I was like, oh, I'm not actually a dude, so... Well, I'm a dude, I'm just not a man. Like, I'm in between.
Sure.
I'm getting used to the California lingo.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine. So I had to deal with that and get comfortable with that. And I feel like queer just fits better.
Mm-hmm.
Not only because of who I am, but I feel like it gives me kind of a soapbox for everybody else.
Mhm.
Like,
oh, absolutely.
like, if you say that you are a gay man, especially someone like me who's tall and white and redheaded naturally, with blue eyes, it's one of those things where, like, I am the... Like, you open the textbook definition and it's like white cis male.
Right.
And so I'm like, that's not what... don't associate me. Like, I don't know her. I don't
Right.
want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that community because that's the no femmes, no fats, no blacks, no Asians.
Yes.
And I'm just like, no. Like, I don't want that. So saying queer allows kind of me to step away from the toxicity of the binary of the, oh, are you gay or are you straight, or are you this? And I feel like queer is more encompassing because then it allows me to have kind of say what I need to say without shunning everybody else, because like bi culture, they are fucked. No one represents them properly. And I know you said that you identify more bi.
Yeah.
I feel like it sucks. And I hear people on other podcasts and things that will be like, oh, you know, David Bowie or Freddie Mercury being gay. And I'm like, they were bi.
Yes.
And I yell for it. I'm like, don't fucking take it away from
Freddie
them.
Mercury's a queer icon, not a gay icon.
Right. So I like to say that I'm queer because I feel like that allows more of like a, hey, this is my community rather than just the gay community, because then you have people that are just like, drag queens are for the gay community. No, they're for the queer community. Trans black women gave you your rights. Fucking Marsha.
That's right. That's
Marsha
right.
P.
Fucking Marsha
like,
P. Johnson.
Throw a brick, bitch. Let's go.
Brick.
Throw a brick.
Yes.
Like, ready
we
to
still appreciate you.
tear that down. And then you have the same thing where it's like, oh, okay, sis. Wig snatched. Like, I can't do it. I'm too white.
No, I got you though. Yeah, it's like
all
just
those
like,
things.
Yes.
Those are from black trans women, black drag queens,
No,
black women in general, and they need to get that.
No, just as black American culture is American culture. In queer culture, it's the same thing. You know, like a queer culture is built off of black queer culture.
You need to know your history.
Yes.
I'm looking directly into the microphone right now, speaking to all of you fucking white women who think it is acceptable to use these terms and say like, okay, sis, go off, all this other stuff. That is from black queer culture. Learn your history before you use our culture. And my main thing and why I get so heated with this is because, especially in this political climate, in this economy, in this political climate, fuck, and all this stuff going on right now where people are like, oh, I can say this and I can say that, but then they don't want to support these things. No, you don't get claim to that, and I will call your ass out. Yeah. I am like the world's biggest ally for everybody when it comes to stuff like that, and if you claim to be an ally and you're not doing these things, I will rip that flag from your hands. Because you don't get it. You don't get to sit there and it's like, another thing is you don't get to stand up for gay rights. Sorry, Pete, don't like you.
Hey, trash Pete, do not elect that motherfucker.
Like,
Bernie Sanders again.
Not to get super political because I feel like sometimes when you get too political, your message is lost. I try to have the Martin Luther King Jr. theory where it's like, if you have to raise your voice, your point is it's moot. It falls on deaf ears. And I'm a huge fan of that. We all know how I feel politically. We all know where I stand. Yeah. But if you represent just one part of culture, you don't get to claim that card. You don't get to say that you're the LGBTQ candidate. No, you're the gay candidate. Yes. And that's how it works. And you don't get to do that. You don't get to say like, oh, I'm all inclusive, all equality. Okay, but what about the black people? What about the people of color? Right. What about the Hispanics? What about these things? You don't get to do that. And I know this is like a queer talk and I'm making it so much bigger than it is. But it's just one of those things where like you don't get to say, oh, why does it always have to be about race? Why does it always have to be about gender? Because it is. And if you have the opportunity to say it's not about those things, you need to understand that that's privilege.
Yes, exactly. And
you have the privilege to remove yourself from that.
The Chuds have ruined the phrase, but you really need to be able to check your privilege. You know? You need to be able to know, like, the things that you just unquestion. The world's a whole different place when you start questioning those things.
And we talked about this the last time that I saw you. With me going through this whole medical thing, it kind of humbled me. Humbled isn't the right word because I've always tried to be as much of an ally and supportive for people as I can. Differently abled people. I hate the term disabled because like the deaf community is a disability, but it's not a disability. Like it's its own culture. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah,
so I try to stand up for them, but being kind of thrown into this community and being like, well, I don't belong there because just in the same way that I don't like to claim that I'm trans because I'm under the trans bracket, but I'm not. I have no interest of transitioning. Right. Which, as you said previously, just because you're a trans woman or whatever trying to that doesn't want to transition, it doesn't devalue you being that. It's the same thing with that. Like, I've looked and noticed when I had to go to the disability office, I had to park at the bottom of a hill. I had to walk with crutches, all this stuff up and stand. And I was just like, I can kind of walk a little bit for like 10 minutes before I have to sit down. But like, if I was in a wheelchair, fuck you. And they tried it. They're literally just like, we don't want to give you the money. Right. You have to prove that you're disabled. I'm like, bitch, you saw me fall. Yeah. Like,
what the fuck?
Like, you literally watched me just be like, my legs don't work today. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Same, and we're gonna bring it right on back to the other things here.
Yes.
Same thing, if someone doesn't look disabled, if they don't look trans, if they don't look queer of any of these things, you don't get to police them.
Yeah.
I would never in a million years walk up to you and tell you that you're not a real woman.
Right.
Or that you can't wear these things.
Yeah.
Because that's fucking ridiculous. And, like, the idea of some places I have to use a wheelchair. If I'm in a grocery store, I have to, like, go around in a wheelchair.
Right.
And if I have to stand up to get something, no one has the right to tell me, oh, well, you're faking it. No, bitch! It hurts!
Yeah.
It hurts to exist. Or pain. You know?
Chronic pain. Fucking L.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch, let me tell you.
Heart out to all the fibromyalgia
My sister.
sufferers, because that is the most common, like...
And lupus?
Lupus, yeah. Any oh god, yeah, lupus as well.
I'm just going to... I have tons of friends with it.
Yeah.
Christina, I'm going to give you a throw out because she always talks about it all the time. I'm, like, literally just giving credit to everybody here on your podcast.
Good.
She talks about it, and I've learned a lot about lupus from her posts on Facebook and things like that. And it's it's fucking crazy, dude. Like, chronic pain sucks. Being gender dysmorphia sucks.
Yeah.
Eating disorders and body dysmorphia sucks. And same with mental health. And, like, a lot of people don't understand the amount of mental health issues associated with queerness and the queer spectrum at all, because I cannot tell you the number of times that I'm sure, as a trans woman, you can, like, tell me to shut the fuck up at any point, that people are like, oh, there's something wrong with you. You, in your other podcast, you talked about your ex that did that.
Yeah.
She was a TERF.
Yeah, she became a TERF. Yeah, she encouraged me to transition.
Which also,
and then became
what?
a TERF. No, that's the craziest thing, where, like, I realized how abusive the relationship had to be, where she was dating 2 trans women at the same time and then became a fucking TERF. I'm like, okay.
And then,
fucking shit. But yeah, and my mom, for example, again, like, when I first came out as genderqueer, her response was 99% of people won't understand
I remember
what you
said
say.
that.
Yeah, and like, that was really funny because I had already connected with people online, and so, like, I knew it wasn't true, but, like, yeah, it's that response and that attitude.
But
you
putting what your mom said into perspective, which obviously she's your mother, I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
there's a difference between 99% of people won't understand and 99% of normal, air quotes, people won't understand, because cisgendered people aren't going to understand. I don't know who cisgendered people are, but they shouldn't be making kids.
Cis don't understand.
Okay! Like, that one post of the woman, she's like, cisgendered people shouldn't be having kids, and I'm like, we fucking know.
Right.
Anyway, that's the problem. Like, we don't reproduce, they do.
Right.
But, you know, you have it's that kind of, like, horse blinders of people aren't going to understand. No, your people aren't going to understand. But then it also gives you this, and this applies to queerness, people of color, everything. I am a broken fucking record, but maybe you bitches will learn. It is not my job to educate you.
Yeah.
It is not my job to teach you about my queerness. It is not my job to become a spectacle of something in the zoo for you to look at through glass. I'm not a fetish for you. I'm not any of these things.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a whole nother tangent.
Yes, being a femme person with a penis, you're a whole fetish.
Like, I'm not a fetish for you. I'm not any of these things. I'm not a femtop for you to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm more than my sexuality. I'm more than my gender. I'm more than my race. And you need to understand that's for other people. I'm white. I know I don't have title to that. But it's for...
Well, no.
It's the
well, the point is that, each of us is the intersection of all of those things. And so it still is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not something you can put behind glass and look at when you want to learn things. However, if you come at me with a place of respect and I don't understand this and I would like to,
right,
I have no problem teaching you. And we're just going to throw her under the bus. That's like when Cardi B had that huge issue and she's like, well, they don't teach us that in school. Bitch, it's not my job.
Right.
Teachers get paid, not well. Throw that one out in this economy. Teachers are paid to educate. Where's my guap? Where's my coin?
Right.
Pay me and I will teach you shit.
Right.
Outside of that,
sure.
There are places for you to, like, Google fucking exists, so let me fucking Google that for you, .com. For those of you that don't know, that's a legitimate website that represents all of my attitude. If you send someone that link, it literally, well, they click on it and it opens a page and it's Google and it just says, let me fucking Google that for you. And you type it in the box and I'm like, petty. I love it.
Yeah.
So there's, do that. Or there's things like this. There's this podcast.
Yeah.
You can watch. Hell, Willem, as crude as she is educational as fuck.
Okay.
She knows all about our history. She's very open about it, talks about these things and a lot of the different stuff. I've learned quite a bit of pop culture references from her. You and I have had a conversation about, like, Tu Wong Fu, which is one of my favorite fucking movies. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. They have history in them. Stonewall or Paris is Burning.
Yeah.
Like there are things that you need to know that, and you don't get to just watch and claim our culture when it's Drag Race and it's fun and then be like, well, no one taught me this. No, you have the ability to learn it, and if you have the privilege to say, well, it doesn't apply to me, I don't need to learn it, that's something you need to recognize and fix.
Yes.
So you know, your mom, I know she probably meant well in the situation with what was happening there, but the road to hell is paved in good intentions. And it's up to you to educate yourself and learn on those things. God, I came on here to have fun. And now I'm just like, listen, bitches.
I know.
It's not, okay. I don't think it's fair to say that I'm an angry person. Okay, I know you're not. I don't think that I'm angry about this. It is something that I am passionate about because as I become older and as I go out of there, I realize that as a white, tall, queer, gay, whatever the fuck you want to call it, air quotes again, male.
Yes.
I am kind of this like shitty beacon of privilege, and I hate it.
No, that's a weird part, being white and AMAB and like queer. It's like this weird space because like for me growing up in California, like that's the kind of thing where it's like basically I'm still have the same privilege, like you know, until I start transitioning, you know, pretty much.
Being that I moved from Florida to here, I'm from Orlando, so
for sure.
So moving out here and I wasn't in Orlando for the actual night, and my ex and I left for a cruise that night. But Pulse happened while we were on that cruise.
Oh, fuck.
Pulse was the first place that I ever performed circus in Florida. I performed for Axel Andrews' birthday. That is Roxy Andrews' drag son.
Fuck.
So they're fantastic human beings. But that was kind of the moment for me in my queerness where I was just like, I needed to do something.
Yeah.
And people like Brandon Wolf, who started the Drew Project, I'm going to give you a huge shout out because I respect everything that you do. It's an entire project dedicated to education on gun reform, control, mass shootings, LGBTQ rights, all of those things. And like, yeah, I know this is a heavy, heavy subject to think about, but I came out here and some people didn't understand why I cared so much about gay rights and everything. They're like, well, I don't understand what you mean by you have to deal with these issues in this. I was like, my friends died, y'all.
Yeah, no, I felt that was the kind of thing where like, I can't imagine how you felt, like, because I felt like 100th of what you felt. Like, I felt the same kind of things.
See, but I wasn't even there. So it's one of those things where like, I have friends
a little bit of survivor guilt too.
I don't know if survivor guilt's the real thing to say because I wasn't in the nightclub when it happened. I wasn't part of it, but my friends were. It drew me to the community, and it's hard. I've gone to a few of the anniversaries, and it sucks. Yeah. I have a tank top. It's my favorite. It's my One Pulse tank top. It's watercolor of the Orlando skyline, and they donated the proceeds. Yeah. And it was beautiful. And I have people who are scarred, and that's where the whole idea of Keep on Dancing came from in Orlando. It's like we can't take it away, and that's where one of the most impactful tweets I ever saw, I cannot remember who said it, just said, if you've never been scared to hold your partner's hand in public, you don't understand why a nightclub is a safe space. Yeah. And that, like, I was just like,
100 years of the 20th century of queer culture explained in one sentence.
Right, and it was just one of those things where it was done, and like, there were issues with the police force where people were like, they didn't do their job, they didn't do this. And I can tell you that one of the radio personalities, I'm going to keep her ambiguous just for safety for her and her job. She is married. Her partner is a cop. And so just being in the same way, it's like, this is your community that's going through this, but you're also on the other side of it. Like, it's hard. It's hard to educate people and show them all these things. So to get off the hard topic there, moving out here, and the first job I had when I was out here, my boss was one of the managers was kind of homophobic. And I went through all the HR stuff and did everything right, and they didn't do anything, so I just left. And people were like, well, how do you expect to fix things if you just leave? I was like, that right there is your fucking cis privilege. Yeah. Because you don't understand that it is easier for me to go, fuck this, and walk away from a situation than that. But it was a bar, so 3 a.m, we're rolling silverware, and I'm yelling about, about Pulse, because they didn't get it. And it's not that I'm angry. Yeah. It's more of like, I cannot believe the ignorance, the arrogance, and the obliviousness to what goes on around you. Yes. It's just like, if you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming you know something on it, or you know me, or you know Jane, and that's why you're listening and you're tuning in. But like, this is a huge educational platform, and I am thrilled to have the opportunity to at least tell my story. And even though I think my story is like fucking insignificant, it's just like, it's me, it's fine. But somebody else can hear that. And then, you know, I went in and talked to, I'm so ranting, it's fine.
Yeah,
I went into a high school. One of my students, my circus students, her mother is an English teacher. And obviously language is something I'm good at. Speak multiple, went to school for theater, all that fun stuff. So they were trying to do poetry and the kids couldn't get into it. So I went and I did spoken word.
Sure, yeah.
That I wrote and read it, and they're like, this is fucking cool. And I was like, it's rap, bitch.
Yeah.
It's rap. Fuck you. And so, like, I taught them that, and we sat and we talked, and I got to listen to their stories and talk to them. And I was telling things that I thought were just, like, basic events of my life. And one of the things that I constantly talked about with them is a match. And they were like, I don't get it. And I was like, okay, stay with me. And so basically a match, the whole point of a match is to light. It starts a fire, it provides light, whatever. And I said that you spend your entire life in this little bubble of darkness. And so when you light your match, it lights up and you can see what's in front of you, make your next step and keep doing it. And your passion is what burns that match. It's what keeps you going. You should be able to wake up every day where it's just like, fire's going, we're ready to go. But I said you have to consider your story as part of that when you light that match. Your story is what burns. And the reason that you do that is there's two things. If someone else is in the dark and their match is out and they can't light it and you light yours, they see you. Mm-hmm. Someone's there. Mm-hmm. And you may think it's insignificant because you're like, I can see. But they're like, oh my God, someone's there, save me.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't understand how much that can help for them. You don't understand that by telling my story and telling what I've gone through, somebody who I have no idea who they are can just be like, fuck. And that resonates with them. And then they want to say something. And that is humbling.
Absolutely. No, and that's one of the things I love about the queer label as well, which is that, like, you can find two people who identify as queer that, like, seem like they would be completely different, and then there are, like, some experiences that, like, are shared. You know, it's like, it's the same kind of thing. Like you and I share some experiences, even though we have very different journeys.
Oh my God, we have so different journeys. Like, if I were to meet you just in a regular setting and not have a conversation, I would feel like I have no right to be like, oh, I get that too. Like, I couldn't relate to you in that because I'm like, you're a trans woman, I can't.
Which is funny because I think of you as trans. Like, I think you're under the umbrella.
Oh, I totally,
you know?
When I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I'm under the trans umbrella, but I would never ever tell anyone that I am a trans person.
Sure.
Because I feel like
I went through that too, honey. It's okay.
I know, I'll get there. I'm only on year 3 of my genderqueer, my queer, exactly. my gender journey.
Yeah.
My queer journey. That's trademark, bitch. No. First merch for chaos.
Yeah, thank you.
Queer journey.
But yeah, it's 9.5 for me, so yeah, I'm coming up there.
Yeah, so and I feel like it gets easier as time goes, and I know that I keep referencing Twitter, but like the queer youth use that, and whatever, OnlyFans, fine. Like, get past them. There's some genuine people on there. Yeah. And one of the tweets that I loved was this kid posted about how he was bullied, and I don't know if it was a true whatever. In the time I saw the post that he was like, I got beat up for being gay. He called me the F word. And was like ready to go, and I responded, he's like, because I'm smaller than this, I was like, I'm 6'4", I'm 260, if you want to throw hands, this, and I dropped the F word, is ready to go.
Right.
Like, I don't care. It's one of those things where, and that is obviously a terrible example in, like, context, but it's one of those things where I don't know these people, but if I see someone who's smaller than me and more femme and everything, the reason that I wear makeup, the reason that I do all these things was initially for me and my representation, but it's so, and same with these kids in high school, like, they are, I know everybody's like, children are the future, and that's really annoying, but they are, and they need to know, and they can be fucked up, and they can have this, but so are we.
No, exactly. No, and I, as well, advocate part of why education is so important, and education about our communities.
Look at our political system. That's why education is important.
Yes, exactly.
I'm yelling into the microphone. Please, God, vote. Vote.
Please do. No, because, like, every generation is shaped by how they're taught. And, like, what they're...
not taught.
Yeah, or not taught. Yeah, and the perspective by which they get the information, you know? So my parents, for example, had an even more American exceptionalist... like, they were taught... They were in grade school in the 50s and early 60s, and so, like, they were taught a completely American exceptionalist story, you know, like, America's done nothing wrong, everything was okay, settling was fine, and then, like, they've learned more and more, so, like, more of that was taught with me, and then, like, still it was not, like, but anyway, yeah, so teach the kids about queerness so that they grow into adults that know.
Not even that. It's the same as, like, movies and stuff. It's the fucking representation. If a small, little, queer, 4 foot, 5 foot, 100 pounds, soaking wet, maybe boy, maybe girl, whatever, queer in any sense, sees me at 6'4", and as much as I weigh, wearing makeup and everything, feeling fabulous, then they think it's okay.
Yeah.
Because the difference is that if they dress like that and go to school, someone can physically hurt them.
Yeah.
Someone can. And for those of you that don't understand why it's always about, like, the fear of going to the bathrooms, that's real.
Yeah.
Like, I am huge, and I have been assaulted for things. I mean, I broke a guy's wrist. It's my sister's favorite story in the world. He touched my friend, and she wasn't ready to go home with him, and I literally grabbed his wrist just to tell him no, and ended up breaking it. So that was fun. She's gonna be like, yes, I love this story.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where people, they will take advantage of it because they think they can, or they don't understand. And so that kid may have somebody threaten him or anything, but if that bully tries to do it to me, do you think they're going to get away with it? Obviously, I'm not advocating for me beating the shit out of children. Like, please don't arrest me. I promise that's not what I'm going for. But the point is that it gives them the confidence and the representation to be like, but this person does it, and then they can see it. And they can learn to love themselves. Because I cannot tell you, and my parents did a very good job raising me. I am very educated. I'm very fortunate. But I cannot tell you that the number of times it took me to, before I got to an adult and had better conversations with my parents, to sit there and be like, you cry on the inside because you're a boy and boys don't cry. And that fucked me. And they never said that to me. My parents never were like, boys don't cry. But I just was always raised, you know, white American.
Men are like this, women are like this. Men are John Wayne.
It's just more of like you don't let people see that. Like, your personal business is your personal business, and you don't show it. However, my mother did tell me, if you have nothing nice to say, you say something witty and devastating. So just like make sure that you have that. And thanks, Mom. Love you.
Make sure it's good. Make sure
are
it's
you kidding me?
closer.
We went out for my 21st birthday, and my friends were like, your mother's coming. And of course, my best friends were like, Debbie. I was so excited.
That's amazing.
And we were sitting there, and my favorite story to tell ever, the bartender tried to get her attention, and she was like, honey, if your name's not Captain, I'm not interested. So she did that. And my roommate at the time was talking to this guy who was much shorter, and my mom was like, you're not doing this. And she was like, well, I don't judge people based on their height. And without missing a beat, my mom goes, well, you should. He looks like a hobbit. You're not leaving with him. And turns and walked away.
Oh my God.
And people are like, your mom's a bitch. And she turns around and was like, where the fuck do you think he gets it from? And I was just like, honestly, thank you, Mom. I love my mother. She's great. So,
shit.
you know, they never explicitly were like, you don't cry because you're a boy, but we were just kind of raised with it, like, your emotions are for you and only for you. And so coming up and growing and understanding, they're like, no, that's how people end up going, like, fucking nuts and killing people.
Yeah.
So, like, cry a little. It's okay. And now it's at the point where I watched Facebook ads have the, like, groups for everyone, and I shared it on my page. I'm sure you saw it, where it was the fucking kazoo group. And they're all, like, dancing, and one girl's in the office, and she's like, and she runs out and starts playing the kazoo, and I bawled. I'm like, it's so pure. It's so, like,
That's great.
If I could look back, like, it's when I first came out and realized that I was gay and all this other stuff, which has progressed to queer. I've evolved. I'm the next level of the Pokemon. That's fine. But if like 18-year-old me could see me today, 18-year-old me would bully me. Like, I'm that type of gay.
Shit.
And I'm literally just like, suck it, honey. Like, you'll get there. And it's great. And so I love doing that. I love fucking it up. And I know you've talked about previously just the whole idea of gender fluid, non-binary, trans people. We're kind of like a confusing thing for some people, because they look at us and they're just like, I'm oddly turned on.
Yes.
And I'm not talking fetish size. I'm talking
it's
you're a really pretty...
I don't know your gender, but I'm really attracted to you. And
right,
and I've never had this experience
I love
before.
to fuck with cisgendered men,
Oh,
specifically.
yes.
I love to fuck with them specifically and be like, no, honey, it's fine. And, like, talk to them nicely, and they kind of, like, blush and get really confused, because they're like, wait a minute, I'm straight. Or they'll be like, no, I'm just straight. I'm just letting you know, like, you're really, like, a nice looking, attractive, a good looking. I'm just like, I was like, it's fine. I'm taken, so I'm not interested by any means, but, like...
It's like, compliments aren't gay, honey. It's fine.
Also, shout out to straight women and straight men, or cisgendered, straight, whatever you want to go with, who are just like, I don't know, they're just, the gay guy said this, and I just don't want to get hit up. First of all, we are picky as fuck.
Yes.
So if we compliment you, you're doing well.
Yes, you have to be exceptional. Like
you
top
have to be
tier shit. Like, we do not. We are a shy bunch. Like,
I mean, you are. I'm clearly not.
I know. No, but like with like approaching people to like for dates and shit.
Yes, but the other side of that is there's that fear of going to approach somebody and having them like assault you or harass you or belittle you because they're like, oh, I'm not fucking gay. What makes you think that?
Well,
exactly. I was like, I just thought you were pretty. It's the same as the girls that, like, when a girl stares at them and they're like, they give them a dirty eye, and she's like, bitch, I thought you were cute, but we can fight too. Like, it's that. Shout out Abigail, because that's my sister.
Yeah.
That's just, you know, you have that weird confusion, and Courtney Act has said it multiple times to just, if we didn't put labels on it, everybody we get laid a lot more, would be a lot happier.
Yeah.
And I kind of relate in the sense that I'm like, I'm just that little stepping stone into queerness and the trans life and everything in there. Because I'm, you know, like I said at the beginning, I'm not noticeable enough in the trans group to be like, totally trans. But I'm definitely enough in the group where they're like, this is fucking queer.
Right.
Like the actual definition, not like the our culture claimed it. And that's why we claimed it. Like, something's a little queer here. You're damn right it is. Let's have fun.
Exactly.
Ugh.
No, I agree completely, because, like, both gender and sexuality are so much more complicated and individualized.
But why does it fucking matter?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Like, who you're attracted to, like, it's all good. Like, that's the thing, too. I want to advocate here, because I've been trying to think about this more, where, like, basically, like, adopt adjectives of describing who you are, and not nouns of, like, I am in this box. You know, it's like, take those things on as being descriptive. This is just my advice to anybody.
So a great way to do that is to think of an author. If you're reading a book and the description of, for those of you that do read, or listening to an audiobook or whatever, when you're thinking of a character, is it the she was tall with great curves and great this and a beautiful ass? Does that bother you? Or make you sound weird? Or is it her hair flowed like water and she had skin like caramel? She had a smile that lit up the room, but she didn't know, but she stayed close to us. Like, that is something that you want to identify yourself as. Mm-hmm. So when you're thinking of how to describe yourself, don't introduce and be like, hey, I'm Ryan, I'm gay, I'm all these different things.
Yeah.
Like, no, my name is Ryan, and professionally, I tell people that I'm the most unprofessional professional you'll ever meet. Because I am. I swear I do all these things, but when it comes down to, I know I'm a storyteller. I know that I have the ability, as hopefully you guys think from listening to this, that I'm capable of making anyone feel like their voice matters. And that's not just like pat my shoulders. That's definitely
it's like something you actively do.
Right. I go out and I try really hard when people are like, no, my light's going out. I'm just like,
right,
trying to get that bitch to burn back up. I'm like, you need more fire. You need more fuel. You need this. Because I think that every voice matters. And I strongly 100% thank my parents for that. They always told me to fight for the little guy. I know I've said it over and over. They just didn't understand that when I was a kid, saying you stand up for the little guy literally meant taking a bullet for them. Because for me, it's at the point where I don't care. If it's one of those things where I have completely come to terms with the fact that in the way everything is done, with me standing up, with me fighting for this and that, if I go out or get arrested or any of those things and it's me standing up for somebody, if I get the shit beat out of me because I stood up for somebody else, that's how I'm meant to go. And I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly, it's not even like that I want to be a martyr and I want to be remembered. It's just simply the fact that I want somebody who's beaten down and not doing things to understand that they have a voice and it deserves to be heard. And I'm loud as fuck. And if I can tell everybody to shut the fuck up so that you can hear their whisper, I've done good enough.
Fuck yeah.
And that's all I care about. So, I'm not angry, I'm just really opinionated and you need to fucking learn. So.
Amazing.
So that's just me. Do you have any other questions or anything since we've just been going on a tangent? Do you have anything else?
Let me see if I covered the bare minimum of questions that I write down beforehand.
No, planning? What's that? It's
no.
Who's her? We don't know her.
Exactly.
Me having a blog about bullet journaling. Still like planning? So we did queer, we did gender, we did sexuality.
Did sexuality. Yeah, I think that's all that I really wanted to cover,
Sweet.
For sure.
Do you have any not written down questions that you want to know? Throw out there for the audience. Some fun stuff while I'm here. While on the topic.
Of you?
Yeah. On the topic. I'm out of queerness, but sure it could be about me.
Oh, sure. I don't know, like, no, it's pretty good. Like, it's just really interesting, just relating. I just agree with you. You know, we it's a cool situation where you're another person that I've met now, where we perceive...
We're also fucking different.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But, like, we perceive the universe in, like, the world in basically the same way, but we've come to this place from totally different angles, and it's always really cool seeing that.
Well, it's not about the
Yeah.
Well, everybody says, like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But in this thing, it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like the destination is where we're like, oh, cool, I'm not alone. But it's how we get there that they're so different. Like, you and I have both had body dysmorphia.
Yes.
Body dysmorphia, but in completely different ways.
Yeah.
But they've still given us the same, like, oh, right. Like, this isn't supposed to be like this.
No, yeah, we both had the unquestioned assumption of, like, oh, boy / male equals sex, and so therefore I'm in the box, and I have to break out of it. And both of us had to come to that realization where it's like, oh no, I can just do whatever I want.
Right. There's the whole difference of, like, coloring in the lines is stupid.
Yeah.
And that's been, like, a really, really cool experience. I also have to commend you on this podcast because I absolutely think it is a fantastic idea to invite different people to speak about it, because I've always told people when they ask, I'm like, well, this is what it means for me.
Yeah.
And it's fun because, like, yeah, we've talked about me this entire time because, you know, guest artists, conversations, questions, that's fine. But what I love about things like this is that I'm not the center of attention. It's like you know, I'm loud, I like to talk about me, that's fine, but I don't always want to be the center of attention. I don't want everyone to think gender fluid and instantly be like, Ryan, that's the gender fluid one, this is how we do things. I want them to understand that it's different for each person and just be like, oh, well, someone said, like, I'm totally okay if you can remember what I said, but not that I said it. Like, if you can just be like, I learned this from someone, but I can't remember why. The lesson was achieved. That's all that matters to me, and that's why I think that you are brilliant for doing this. It's such a cool experience.
Well, shout out to @MI2Removed on Twitter. We had a conversation that inspired this, so yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
Yes.
For sure. Because, and I'm open as well to, like, having more conversations or, like, watching Tu Wong Fu with you and talking about it. Because there's
slight
plug.
I'm actually going to be doing that soon. My friend has a YouTube channel where they review TV, like, movies and things like that. It's called All Rightness TV.
Okay.
It's on YouTube. It's my friend Hadia, and I fucking love her. She's incredible.
Amazing.
And I'm going to be with her, and we're going to watch Tu Wong Fu because she hasn't seen it in years, and we're literally just going to talk shit. And I'm so excited.
That's amazing. Hell yeah.
So excited.
Hell yeah.
Bringing the queer movies to the channel.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I'm totally down to watch it multiple times. So if I film it with them, we can watch a review, but you and I clearly need to get together and watch it.
Yeah. That was the first thing we talked about when we
Oh my god, yes. And I can't wait to see this podcast grow and maybe come back later and just be like, so bitches, this is what's up, and be ready for it. I'm so stoked for you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I know. It's the kind of thing where, like, part of it is trying to monetize things, like, every aspect of my life, because I realize the kind of, you know, late capitalism we live in. But
this economy?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like my favorite catchphrase of all time.
It's great. It's wonderful. But, like, yeah, but part of my motivation here as well is, like, just having this product, like, basically, like, these are just, like, useful experiences to have recorded and, like, to sort of know, how
but people
are
can learn from this.
Exactly. No, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's useful either way.
I did not grow up with queer culture.
Yeah.
I did not grow up with gay people around me. It was, like, unheard of, to the point where I didn't come out till I moved out of my house because it was like, oh god, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
My parents loved me. They still love me. There was no issues there. But just in case.
Yeah.
So if I were, like, a 13-year-old and had the opportunity to listen to somebody be like, you know, bitch might be onto something.
Yeah.
It would be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially,
so go to the fucking Patreon, people. Support this channel.
Thank you.
God damn it.
Ko-fi.com/Chaos Public Radio.
There'll be tons of plugs. I will share stuff on all my socials too, because this is important content. I know I had a Starbucks coffee today, but you can totally donate your Starbucks coffee price.
And especially if you as well are non-binary or genderqueer, or even just, like, queer, like, just reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you because, like, I want to collect a diversity of experiences, you know? It's like, that's the other side of it too. I really want to, I need to get to another point of professionalism because it's only me right now. No, you
don't. You're fine.
Well, no, what I mean
You're
is
doing great.
I want pictures of all my guests too, so, like, it sort of puts it together.
If you think we're not taking a selfie by the end of this.
Oh, sure. Well, no, but I don't have one with, like, Theo. I don't have
because you're not friends with Theo and you can't get a picture. We'll be fine. I totally agree though that there should be that.
Yeah.
And, you know, eventually it might get like other podcasts.
Yeah.
Where there's the video content and people get to see that too, because I feel like listening to this, you can totally hear that I'm very energetic and like
expressive.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the with my arms and stuff. But it's a completely different story to hear it and then to see it, because then it makes it from the they sound angry to they're just really passionate about this.
No, and so that's another great reason to support us on Patreon. That will be a Patreon tier. I'll start being able to film it. That'll be great.
Do it. That's totally worth it. I mean. And Patreon, so you have your tiers all set up? I haven't looked at your Patreon.
No, I don't quite yet.
Okay, so we can talk, because I just set mine up for my stuff, so I'll help you.
Perfect.
But it's totally worth it, guys. If you aren't familiar with that and how it works, it's completely different than like YouTube. There aren't really any ads or anything. You just kind of support the content, and then there's tiers and rewards and things that you get for supporting it. So it's less of a, hey, I'm going to pay into this and they're only going to get a part of it. It's like I'm going to pay into this and I'm going to get something directly for it. It's the same as, a meet and greet at a concert or something like that. You're putting the money in, it's going to that artist, it's helping them produce things. And this has just been a really fucking cool experience. So support it. Give Jing your coin.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to plug? Since
I've been doing it all night.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Sure. Since you've been doing a good job plugging my podcast.
I'm trying to.
You're doing a great job. Yeah.
You did me a huge solid and asked me to be here, and I totally respect it. So I love helping promote that. Oh, yeah. And it was just like I had no idea what I was in for. I mean, I've listened to the podcast and I knew I was going to get the questions and stuff, but it was just more of a like, hey, I get to tell my story again and see who I can help with it. So I was stoked for that. I was stoked to kind of be, especially at the beginning of your podcast, like it's still relatively young, so being one of the first people on it and be like, I remember when, and see where it grows. So once this gets bigger and more people notice, I'd be like, psh, I was on that shit.
Right.
So I guess just my own stuff. So I have a website. It's redheadrunaway.com. It's spelt exactly like you think it would be. And I do a few different blog series on there, a bunch of posts. I'm starting a podcast next week.
Hey.
So I'm really excited. It's going to be called The Runaway Rambles.
Okay.
And if you can't tell, it's aptly fitting. So I do a self-help kind of blog. Everybody has their escape, and it's mine, and that's literally what's written on it. We do a blog series called 52 and You, where every Sunday I release a blog post that is self-help, but like we cut the shit. So there's swear words. I literally say, I don't use my name. I go by my screen name for my Instagram and everything, which is Token Carney. TokenCarnie. I had to think for a second on how to spell it. Thank God. So I write Token Carney. I start everything the same. It's always hey, hi, hello. It's Token Carney. Welcome to this shit show of my life. And like I go through and talk about everything. And then each week there's a mini challenge. So each month has a theme. We just did January's theme was gratitude, and each week is a different approach to it. So the whole point is, by the time that the 52 weeks are over, you are a better version of yourself and you don't recognize who you were in the past. It's about small attainable growth. Yeah, it actually started I was just doing a personal journal entry thing, and my friends were like, no, we want this, we want to be a part of this. And it kind of grew and became this thing. She's like, no, I'd run away with that. And so the Runaways happened.
Okay, sure.
And I'm a circus performer, so everything is circus themed.
Yes.
Obviously written in there, and it's just kind of creative, and it's really nice to just see a self-help that's not like, and now you eat kale and do this. It's like, no, life fucking sucks, and you have to write things on the mirrors, but it's just an idea to stop being miserable. And then I'm, as you know, terrible at planning, just like you. So I have another series called Bujo Boudoir. And it's each week I do a different layout in my bujo. I post it for people. That's a bullet journal for those of you that don't know. It's a planner. It's like a customizable planner. It's got dots and stuff.
Interesting.
It's so great. It's by Ryder Carroll. I talk about it on my website. I love him. A lot of people do really artistic ones. I try to say minimalistic because function. So I post one on my Instagram every week, and then every Saturday I review it and how it worked out for me, how much design went into it, and whether I used it. Because I want people to use these things.
For sure.
A lot of it was just me rambling on and talking, but it kind of became, like I said, me using my story, and whether people read it or listen to it or they don't, it helps me work through my things and maybe can help somebody else.
And it's great. It sounds like a positive thing to exist.
I'm trying.
Of course.
She's trying. So it's redheadrunaway.com. Everything is linked on there. You can find absolutely everything. Podcast coming soon, and then Instagram is Instagram, Twitter. I don't fucking know what the other ones are. Token. You can find me
Token
on
Curry, yeah.
Token Curry.
LinkedIn.
You can find me on Facebook.
Friendster,
The Redhead
MySpace.
Runaway. I don't fucking care. There's so many goddamn things to plug. It's fine.
No,
I'm just thrilled to be here. Thrilled to get to talk about things, and hopefully I see some of you guys on there. And then once my podcast set up, I'll have to come back, and you and I can
exactly.
record
We'll have to cross podcast. Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me? I texted all my friends and posted on my Facebook. I was like, guess who's going to LA to record? And all my friends were like, when does it come out? And I'm like, that's a great fucking question. So as soon as this is ready, it'll be up, and I'm so excited to share it with people. I can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for coming. Yeah,
of course.
I enjoyed this, and I hope
just
you did
ranting.
Too.
Okay, bye.
Yes, later. I would like to give a special thanks for this episode of Gender Non-Conforming Chat to Ryan Ward for being my wonderful guest, and Mothcub for the lovely logo. It's amazing. I'm using it so much. I cannot express my gratitude enough. And lastly, to you for listening. Thank you. Have a lovely